this frost gonna kill my plants? How can I prepare? When we've listened to news about a cold front coming down, we've all had similar thoughts. So what does all of this mean for your yard? There are things we need to know so we can prepare in advance. Use the stepping stones for success that I'm covering in just a few minutes. When you get a freeze warning, what is that talking about? Freeze warning means there's an 80% chance that the temperature will reach 32 degrees Fahrenheit and even drop below. Then you've probably heard we're going to have a hard freeze. What's that? A hard freeze is when you've got lower temperatures like 28 degrees Fahrenheit or below, and the temperatures last for several hours, sometimes longer. Last year, we had mid-20s temperatures for almost a week. That was a period of hard freeze. What happens in a lighter freeze around 36 degrees Fahrenheit, you may have some frost on the leaves, but the plants may recover and there may not be a lot of damage depending on the plant. With the hard freeze, when the temperatures are that low and sustained, then again, depending on the plant, you can have extensive damage to plants. Let's talk about how freeze has been categorized in the North Florida area where I'm living. And it's probably similar where you are. Check that information out with your cooperative extension. And I'll leave a reference below for how you contact them. The first type of freeze is called radiational. What it looks like, how it happens, is that it's clear skies and calm wind kind of night. The temperature drops and plants are emitting heat from their surface areas, which would be like their leaves and such. The leaves become cooler than the air around them, and ice crystals form on the leaves. We saw that on this leaf of the blanket flower. Usually in this situation, the plants can recover and there's minimal damage. The next kind of freeze is advective. How it happens, we hear on the weather, cold front is moving rapidly into your area. Winds expected, windy, a huge mass of cold air is coming in and you experience a sudden significant drop in temperature. So maybe it was 50 degrees and now it's 28 degrees in a matter of hours. And this situation, the plants may sustain some significant damage, especially if the temperatures stay low for several hours. You may be wondering, Alice, how can I possibly prepare for this kind of a situation, a frost or a freeze? There are 4 stepping stones, or I'm calling them gardening tips, that you can follow that will help you have successful outcome in growing plants, having them thrive, and having the garden that you love. Gardening tip number 1, know your USDA hardiness zone. So you need to know the temperatures that you're going to be dealing with in the area where you're living. So if you're new to gardening, this is something you may not have thought about. If you've moved to a new area, we have a lot of people moving to Florida, or a lot of people from South Florida moving to North Florida, different hardiness zones for both types, whether you're moving in or moving up. There are 2 ways to get that information. You can always call your local cooperative extension, or you can go online and look up the USDA hardiness zone in your area. When you get the map, here's a screenshot of the map. In the search bar, put in your zip code and you will get the information for your hardiness zone. That's specific to where you're living. That's your number 1 guide. Use that hardiness zone when whenever you go shopping for plants. And that leads us to gardening tip number 2, called right plant, right place. That's one of the top principles from the Florida Friendly Landscaping program in Florida. What it means is match your plant that you're purchasing to the hardiness zone, the type of soil and sun and water and things that the plant needs. For example, you see, oh, look at this beautiful plant. It's so unusual. You see this tropical plant, you think, oh, this would be great in my yard. And you forget to look at the plant label, the card. If you're buying from a reputable nursery or a big box store, the plants that they sell come with plant cards. And on the cards, it tells you the hardiness zone. You want to make sure that what the card says coincides with the zone that you live in. So if you're planting something for zone 10, but you're living in zone 9A, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to have frost, and it's going to kill your plant to the ground. It's sayonara for that plant. It's over. When you selected the right plant for your place, you're matching the plant with the conditions where it will have minimal or no damage when we have frost or hard freeze. That saves you money, and that saves you a lot of time and effort. Just that simple thing. Gardening tip number 3, mulch. We're talking about preparation now. When you're preparing your plants, you're not just planting, you're also thinking ahead that we have winter, it gets cold. The mulch provides for your plants as we're approaching the cold season. Be sure you put in a natural mulch such as pine straw, pine bark, mini pine bark nuggets, compost, 3 inches thick around the plant roots so that you're going to protect the roots from cold and you're going to help keep the moisture in. So the mulch helps with heat loss from the soil, helps keep the roots from being damaged from the cold. For your perennials, those that may die back in the wintertime, but their roots are alive, part of them is still alive, and in the spring, you will see them regrow and bloom. Gardening tip number 4, water before a frost. It's good to do a deep watering if you know that a cold front is headed your way. And this helps the plant and the roots be well prepared. Things to remember are don't overwater, don't leave your watering system running during the night because you can overwater your plants. You can also damage your irrigation system if it freezes and the pipes break. I was fortunate in that we knew that there was a cold front moving this way. Before it came, we had 2 inches of rain. So the soil was well watered and the plants were prepared for this most recent bout of frost and low temperatures. What a couple of hours ago was covered in ice crystals is now completely cleared thanks to the sunshine. As I look out over the yard, pollinator garden are also recovered from the frost. Most of it's gone. I wanted to check out my blanket flowers that are growing here. That one that I showed you still has a little bit of the frost crystals on it. Other parts that are in the morning sun have dried off. No surprise there. And the backyard has a different look. We're in the mid-morning and this area gets the morning sun. So the frost has cleared off of the grass. You may be wondering about special plants growing in your yard and how you might prepare them for any frost or freeze. These might be things like citrus trees, your vegetable garden, and container plants. Those are special situations. Some kind of protection might be beneficial, and I'll be covering that in another video. So if you've not subscribed, subscribe so you don't miss out on the information. Let me know what you've tried in your yard and how it's working. See you again soon.